Helix?
No. No. I think that one should that you should cheer for its organizing principle. People are lonely, and wouldn't it be nice if we could do something about it? I mean, the impetus for the cult is noble. The cult leader, he's a lonely guy himself. You know, classic dramatic irony. And so, but you know, this is typical. It's like if you become a shrink, it's probably because you're nuts. And I mean, this is just sort of tried and true. And if you're a dentist, you know, you have bad teeth. And if you're a cult leader, it's because, you know, a cult leader of a cult that seeks to cure loneliness, it's because you're really lonely. So, you know, I think the impetus behind what he's doing is noble. It just doesn't quite, you know, it didn't manifest particularly well. I mean, there are all kinds of crazies in this cult. Some people seem happier for it, but, you know, I follow these 4 people, all of whom the 4 hostages, and all of them have these kind of brushes with the cult. All of them are experiencing loneliness in one reason or another, a fracture in their lives, and the Helix is not really a help to any of them. But, you know, no good deed, as they say, so no one ends up sort of unscathed. But I feel like you root more for the cult leader and his ex-wife, who are both very challenged people. I think you'd root more for them than you would for the cult, which has become quite perverse and scary. That said, you know, don't let me dictate your feelings. You root for who you like. And get back to me. Any other questions or anything?
How did you choose to portray the leader? Because we didn't get that much of a picture of him in the selection of roles. What sustains and has built his ability to lead this cult? What establishes him, and why are people following him in this cult?
Well, the people who don't like my novel are like, we don't understand where he's not charismatic. He's an oof. You know, he's hapless and pathetic. He is hapless and pathetic, but I think that gives him a kind of charisma. He's able to speak with real authority on this topic because he's so lonely and miserable. So that wasn't particularly hard. You know, he just gets up there and he basically says what he feels. You know, he talks at length about, you know, that sensation when you're sitting around with your best friends and you feel you're just drowning in your own loneliness, and you feel even worse because aren't you supposed to feel great because you're sitting there with your best friends, and why don't you feel like you're known? I mean, this is awful what he's describing, and everyone in the audience is like, yeah, I know. So he's able, you know, to connect with people on that level because he's basically, you know, talking about things that everyone knows something about. I don't know anyone who doesn't, at least has never, you know, experienced those kind of things. Mm-hmm. So, you know, characterizing him, I mean, I knew that I was going to be dealing with this sort of lonely, sad guy who basically just missed his wife. You know, she left him because he cheated on her and he was awful, and he's constantly trying to find an antidote to his loneliness, and he thought that a wife and a kid would do it, and it didn't. And so he falls apart. She's like, what's your problem? She leaves. You know, it wasn't so difficult for me to imagine this guy because he just seemed so recognizable to me. You know, I felt like I could be him. I could do this if I were a guy. I don't think I could do the whole stand there in front of 5,000 people cult thing. But I mean, this kind of the kind of self-destructive behavior seemed very easy, you know, to dramatize. And like I said earlier, I mean, I definitely didn't want to be writing someone who was a kind of orthodox fanatic. I wanted to write somebody who was nuanced and complicated and self-destructive, but still meaning so well. I mean, that's, I think, what our best characters do. You know, they struggle so hard to surmount their worst selves and they fail. And that's what all of us do every day. But he just does it in the arts.
Did his power, I mean, does it corrupt him over time? Does he kind of...
I think you're going to have to buy this novel and find out.
I'm going to be the first. I want that.
Yes, things get worse and worse for him. And then, I mean, he does take 4 people hostage, so, you know, he does get to a breaking point. But that's, well, you'll find out rather quickly why he does that. He does get to a point where the hypocrisy for him is his undoing. He can't lead this movement where he really does not believe in anything that he's endorsing. You know, he didn't start, in the beginning he was unsure. By the end, he's pretty sure that he doesn't believe in any of it. And this is a problem, I think, when you're a cult leader. How do you get up every day to go to work under those circumstances? I believe nothing that I'm saying. Rise up. Can you imagine Mussolini under those circumstances?
I think there's a lot of people in the Senate, actually.
No, I think they believe, actually. I saw someone over here. Yes?
Have you started a new project, and can you speak about it?
I have indeed. It's been so long since I've worked on it, but yes. it's that novel it's going to be about emotional incoherence. Surprise. It's about a guy who is so emotionally incoherent to himself. He doesn't know why he does the things he does. He wakes up one morning on the back of a horse. I actually heard someone say this once, that he woke up on the back of a horse. I heard this about 6 years ago, and I thought, I'm going to do something with that. So he wakes up one morning on the back of a horse. He doesn't know what happened to him the night before, and he's rather quickly presented with evidence that he's done something horrible. And he doesn't know if he did or he did not, and spends much of this novel trying to figure out. But then it's also kind of a crime novel, apparently. I mean, what am I doing? It's a crime novel, and about which I know nothing about this genre at all. I have no business doing it, but watch me. The impetus for this novel is actually much less sort of pretentious than the impetus for Woke Up Lonely. I don't know how you guys really followed Brett Favre. His whole should I go back to work or shouldn't I? Am I retiring? Am I not retiring? Am I retiring? Am I not retiring? I got so fixated on his inability to make a decision. This man does not know his inner life. He does not know what he wants, and he was really capricious, and all these people, their jobs are on the line because of him, but I got really interested in his complete incapacity to make a decision. I mean, some people just say, oh, he's capricious, he's rich, there's a word for this, I can't think of what it is, but he's so rich, he can afford to make these decisions, but I was kind of into the softer side of Brett, and that is where, I got the kind of general idea for the novel. But at this rate, I'm publishing one novel every 5 years, so you're not going to hear from me again until 2018. I just wilted inside for having said that. So yes, it'll be a while. Although I got a jump on it though, because I started it in 2010 and then I lost steam on it, and I hope actually this summer to finish a draft. So coming to a booksmith near you. Yes.
So I know you're connected with several universities, and I just kind of try to envision how you find the time to write. Do you do it mainly late at night, or how, when there's no interruptions, or do you...
No, I'm 125 years old. At 10 o'clock, I'm like, I'm tired. No, when I was young, when I was writing my first novel, when I was writing my first novel, I have a novel in a drawer, which, we scared this person away. I'm sorry. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
She's going back to get the first book.
No, I think she's like, the story of your young life is really good. I'm going to do this quickly. I've written my first novel, which was never published, and I had real ambition, and I was getting up at 4 in the morning and working on it before I went to work, and those days are over. No, I get nothing done during the year. I mean, absolutely nothing. And so I get nothing done. Where I write primarily, I get the bulk of my work done as I go to these artist colonies, which sounds sort of perverse, and these residencies, that's a better way of putting them. I go to one frequently in upstate New York, and this summer I'm going to one in New Hampshire. I go there for 3 weeks at a time or a month, and they have quiet hours, and I do this in the summertime when I'm not teaching, and in January, which I frequently have off. So, you have 9 hours a day, and I have a page quota that I have to meet per day, 5 pages a day, whether they're good or bad, I don't care, it doesn't matter, I just have to crank it out. So you're doing 5 pages a day for a month, a book is more. Mm-hmm. So, relative, in those big chunks, I can crank out a draft, but then I might take 4 years, to actually put a book together. I'm hoping that doesn't happen to me this time, but that's basically the way I've been working so far. It's a little bit unsustainable, though. I mean, if I had my druthers, I would just... I wouldn't teach, and I would have a hacienda and a maid. All right, let's not go down this road. I would work much more often than I do, with some kind of frequency, because you really get out of it. You lose what you were doing, and then it takes you a long time to kind of crank up and get back into it. But
so, are you teaching writing?
Right now, I'm teaching creative writing to the undergraduates at Princeton, and they are remarkably well trained and really bright, and they're scarily bright. And I'm teaching a graduate seminar to the Columbia students, and that's really fun. And I also teach at NYU, and I'm a slave for hire. I just kind of, I moonlight. I just go from place to place to place. Well, it's not really moonlighting because it's all the same job. I just go from place to place to place. Whoever hires me is where I go. This summer I'll be teaching at Bard. So, whoever asks for me, I tend to say yes.